What's up, everybody? Welcome into another edition of the Hoops Betting Hour. I'm your host, the big man on campus. We are here live on a Saturday, May 22nd, 2021. We are, as always, powered by PicksWise, presented by FanDuel. We're here all the way through the NBA Finals every day at noon Eastern, breaking down the NBA card. And what an exciting day it is. Day number one, the playoffs get started. No more playing games. The bracket's been decided. We get it started today. And one of our favorite people's here with us live breaking it down. It's the great Spread Astaire. Spread, how you doing? Playoffs getting started today. We got 4 games today, 4 games tomorrow. Time to figure out who the NBA champion is for 2021.
Yeah, I mean, I can't wait. Obviously, everyone's really excited to play because I'm checking this injury report, and it's about 1/10 of what we were dealing with last week during the regular season. So it's quite exciting to see all hands on deck and everybody fully motivated, and we can throw that handicap out the window. We know all the teams are motivated now, so it makes it a little bit easier for us and obviously a lot more exciting.
Exactly. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Make sure if you're new around here, you hit the subscribe button and you show us some love. I know a lot of people watch on the replay. What's up? Thanks for watching. Shout out to Spread Astaire, who joined us on Thursday night.
Yep.
You gave us the Washington Wizards. You like that side? Easy winner. We both like the over, so it worked out for us. Last night, quick little recap. Final play-in game went down, and it was just one of those games for the Warriors. Just couldn't get up and over, get that lead and get that, advantage. And they had it tied at one point. They had a shot to win the game late with that Draymond. I don't know. I'm not sure why you go to Draymond Green there. But Draymond Green misses all the rim, and they go to overtime. And Memphis just was the better team. John Morant was terrific. Tillman, Grayson Allen, Dylan Brooks. I mean, everyone did their little part last night. Warriors get knocked off by the Grizzlies. And look, as the day went on, Spread, it became abundantly more and more clear that the Grizzlies were a very sharp side. A lot of people like the Warriors. I ended up going with Curry's point total, and it worked out. He got it over. He had to have a big game, but ultimately, it definitely hurts the NBA that the Warriors are not in the playoffs. They'd much rather see Stephen Curry, but John Morant's turned it into one hell of a player, and I saw a couple people tweeting about this. I'm going to say it. Give me John Morant over Zion Williamson any day of the week.
Wow,
nice.
All right, I like it. I actually think it was good for the NBA here. When Steph comes back, he still must see next year. He's still going to be the highest-rated team in the league, right, between him and LeBron, especially with Klay Thompson, right? It basically, Klay coming back will erase that loss in all of our minds, right? We'll rate them still as a possible contender, but at least a playoff team. But now we get to elevate a young player and a young team that, hey, they can use some eyes and they can use the experience a lot more than this Warriors team. This game really showed how flawed this roster was, and I was talking, with some guys this morning, and I said, this all comes down to the loss of Jerry West. This franchise, when they lost Jerry West, the roster just kept getting worse and worse every year, and Steph's covering for it, right? He's so great, he's covering for it. This is going to force them to actually look at this roster. How many of those guys would contribute on other teams, right? Looney, maybe, could get a little run in Boston or L.A. as a center. That's about it, right? Obviously Andrew Wiggins. But, other than that, you got JTA. He'd be like maybe the 8th man. He'd struggle to get run in Philly. I know that. Same with Jordan Poole, right? He'd be in the Tyrese Maxey role. And these guys are doing major minutes. So hopefully the Warriors come back stronger, address these roster deficiencies, put some guys around Steph to really make this team fun. But I'm excited to watch the Grizzlies. When I was watching and you knew the Grizzlies were going to win, I was a little more excited for the 1-8 matchup. Obviously, Steph could have taken anyone out, but I want to see how this Grizzlies team that's a little deeper matches up with the Jazz. I think they might be more exciting games.
Yeah, this Warriors team has a lot of questions going forward. I mean, they just look with Stephen Curry. If they didn't have Stephen Curry, I mean, they're a bottom 6-7 team in the NBA.
Yeah, they showed last year they had 15 wins without him.
Right, this team sucks. But now you look at going forward. Where do the Warriors go from here? I mean, do they kind of run it back again and they'll add Klay Thompson and say, you know what, this is enough. Obviously, if you have Klay Thompson on this team, you're probably not in this playing game predicament. But then you also look and say, well, all right, are we going to develop Wiseman and Pascal and Poole? What are we going to do here? It's definitely, there are more question marks than in years past. You still obviously have a lot of guys in their prime, though, with the Warriors. I'm not saying they're going to blow it up or anything, but, adding Klay Thompson will obviously help next year. But since Kevin Durant's left, it's been kind of a tough couple of seasons. They've had injuries. They've had issues with, obviously coronavirus. We had that season, so Curry was out. So yeah, it's interesting. But going forward, I think ultimately this should be a fun matchup between the Grizzlies and the Jazz, especially a Jazz team that could be a little injured coming into the season. They're one of the teams that do have some chronic injury problems. All right, let's get into the games here. We've been talking about these series. We've been talking about what we think is going to happen. Let's break it all down. As always on this show, we'll break it down from a side, total, prop perspective. All we ask you to do, just hit that subscribe button. Make sure you frequent the show here. We continue to try to build this thing up a little bit, add to the subscriber base as we head into the summer. Let's get into it. Miami Heat, Milwaukee Bucks, 2:10 Eastern. This one gets going. This will be the early matchup, and I'm excited about it. Bucks laying 5.5, total 227. All right, spread. So obviously, this is the first game I kind of had my eye on. I've had my eye on these games all week, but right when I kind of glanced at this about a half hour ago, it shaded to 5.5, and I was pretty happy with that, frankly. I'm a little concerned because I feel like they're throwing this number out there as we kind of don't know where to play this and price this game, but we're going to kind of throw a bone to Heat people and say, you know what, the Heat are probably the play. They're playing well. They have some things that can bother the Bucks. But what this game is going to come down to, you know it and I know it, is can Miami make threes? That's one of the reasons they beat the Bucks last year. They were able to make threes. The Bucks defensively allow a lot of three-point shots. Guys like Robinson, guys like Hero, guys can knock these shots down. We also have to point out, this is a Milwaukee defense that of the playoff teams left, only Portland is worse. This Bucks defense has not been good. They're giving up 114 points per game. Okay, it's just that simple. They've not been that good. When you look at just, I think everything, I think with Bam Adebayo, just with the fact that I think this Heat team is playing at a supremely high level right now. I'm going to kind of ride it, man. I'm going to kind of ride the Heat. I like this team. I liked them back to last year. Had a future on them. I have a future on them again this season. I think this is a few too many points. I know the Bucks have Giannis. I like them with Drew Holiday now. And I think there are some matchup advantages. But I really like how deep Miami is. They have Dragic. They have Nunn. They have guys they can go to. And Jimmy Butler's a star. I think it comes down to the wire here. I'm going to bank on Miami making enough threes. I'll grab the 5.5 here.
All right, I took a stand a little earlier. I got in at 4.5, but I like the opposite side. I think you make some great points though, and I don't love it. And I would not be surprised if when we come on tomorrow, I'm giving you congratulations for a winning pick because no way am I saying take this to the bank or anything. But the reason why I leaned and played Milwaukee is I just don't know if this is the same Miami team that we had last year. Just a quick look at some numbers here. Duncan Robinson's dropped from 44.6% to 40% on threes. Tyler Herro's down from 39% to 36%. Jay Crowder shot 44% from them last year, replaced by Trevor Ariza in the lineup. He's only at 35%. And they also lost Kelly Olynyk, who was a 40% three-point shooter for the team last year. We know Milwaukee's weakness on defense, right? They like to give up the open threes. Last year, Miami had the execution to take care of that. I also think that they were aided by the bubble. Everyone talked about how that was a shooter's gym, easy background, had the 24-hour fitness feel, of just getting run in with their buddies, the mellow hoodie type of stuff. I don't know if that will happen. And the other thing is, while we have not seen it statistically, I do believe in Milwaukee's defense with the additions of Holiday and Tucker. We watched Tucker play some great defense against Durant down there towards the end. I think that could be the difference. The issues, of course, and the reason I'm concerned, and I'm not saying, hey, hammer, smash, smash. Number one, Bam's a beautiful defender for Giannis, right? If you were to build a defender for Giannis, it would be a guy like Bam Adebayo. And two, Jimmy Butler's just a dog, right? If this game stays close, I'm worried. That's why I went ahead and laid it, because I figure if Milwaukee wins, they win this game easy. The last thing that Milwaukee wants is a one possession game with less than 2 minutes to go. They need to get stops, get out in transition, build the lead, put the scoreboard pressure on Miami. If they're able to do that, I think they win and they cover. So I think that this game you pick the winner. If you like Miami, take Miami, maybe take the points, but I think you can take the money line. I think if Milwaukee wins, they win by margin because I don't trust them in a close game.
Yeah, I think you make a lot of great points. I think when you're looking at the second units here with these teams, again, when you get to the playoffs, it doesn't matter as much. Both are pretty solid, though. I really like what I've been able to see out of the point guard spot. You mentioned some of the stuff with Hero, and look, that's been a problem. I mean, Hero's not played as well as he did last year. It's just that simple. There are some things that they're lacking, and they're not as good as they were. But I will say with Hero, you look at really over the last just 10 games. He played in 6, shot 49% from 3. So maybe he's starting to get his feel again. He's going to have the shot to make them here. They're going to give up threes. As someone in our chat, Matt Weeks, is saying, Bucks allow the 29th most three-pointers. So, yeah, I mean, you're going to get looks against this group. It's can you knock them down? I love this Heat defense. It's the better of the two. I don't think we can even argue with that. We've seen over the years, Spread, Milwaukee's always had a solid defense. This year they fell into these spots where they'll play like Houston and give up 130. I mean, this defense is poor. And I think if you're Miami, what you do is you take a little page out of the book. These are two teams. Milwaukee wants to go a little bit faster. Miami wants to kind of slow it down. Miami wants this game in the high early hundreds. They want this game 106, 102, 104, 98. That's what they want this game to be. They're going to slow it down. I think they make some big shots. They have a guy, Jimmy Butler, who gets to the 10, can get to the line. I'm going to take them here. 5.5 is strong, man. I think that's too many points. Listen, how about this game fall 5 and we both win? You have 4.5. I took the 5.5. So
all
if
right.
it falls 5, we're both hanging and cashing.
Yep.
All right. Let's get into the next game here. As always, we are here every day at noon Eastern. If there's games, we're breaking them down and we're getting into them here. So make sure you join us. Let's rock with the next game at 4:40 Eastern, just in time for maybe you have a happy hour going on or something. You can throw this on the TV, have it on while you're drinking or whatever you're doing. Clippers laying 6, hosting the Mavs. Total 218. This number's been bet down significantly total-wise. A lot of money coming in on the under in this game, and why not? Two good defenses, two teams that slow the ball down. I'm going to say this about the Dallas Mavericks. They've just never really shown me that they're a high-level group. Luka's great, but what about the rest? They remind me a lot of Golden State, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I mean, take Luka away. What is his team? I mean, they're not in the playoffs, I'll tell you that. Luka Doncic is going to have to be superhuman, as they say. He's going to have to be what he was in last year's playoffs. We also talked about it with Miami. You lose a guy like Jay Crowder and you place him with Trevor Ariza. Look, I'm not going to say Seth Curry is Steph Curry, but you replaced him with Jason Richardson. You just haven't gotten the same outcome. Offensively, they're just not as good. Defensively, I don't know if they've improved a whole hell of a lot. They're still a average to poor defensive team. I think the Clippers are good. In fact, if you make me predict who gets to the West or who gets to the finals, I'm going to lean on the Clippers at this point. I think this group's really good. They made some changes, took out Lou Williams, took out Montrezl Harrell, really kind of replaced him with Ibaka and Batum. Two really solid NBA players, two guys that can shoot the rock mid-range from 3, two good defenders. We know that you have Kawhi and Paul George. It is playoff Paul, so there's always concerns. But is this my favorite play? Is this a best bet? No. I'm going to lean on the Clippers here, though. I think they win by 10. I think they get the start they want here. The concern I have also with Dallas is offensively they're good, but they lean on the 3 a lot. They're only like, I think 18th in 3-point percentage. It's just kind of a wonky offense. I think if Luka can't get going, I wonder. We obviously saw what Luka was able to do to them last year. The problem is this year, the Clippers, I think, are just better defensively than they were last year. Looking in the bubble, they weren't good defensively. This year, it's a totally different situation. I lean on the Clippers here. I think they get the job done.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. I didn't bet this game. I think the number is pretty good here, especially moving all the way out to 6. I can see the number falling right around there. But I'd just like to echo your sentiments on Dallas and just how they're essentially a one-man team, and we saw how that worked out last night. I appreciate that they made the gamble, right? But unfortunately, they lost. They're going to have to take the L on that and trading for Kristaps Porzingis because that set them back a couple years. He was supposed to be the number 2 for Luka. It simply hasn't happened, and he's eating up that huge salary cap space here. Tim Hardaway Jr., actually a pleasant surprise. I'd say that he's been living up to his contract, but really not a lot of expectations from him. The only thing positive I think you can say about the supporting cast this year has been the play of Jalen Brunson, but that's a backup point guard, right? They just don't have enough on the floor when he's out there. Josh Richardson's really been disappointing. I would say that more and more as his career goes, we think that he might just be a product of the Spoelstra system because I haven't seen any of that effectiveness since he left Miami here. I mean, to make cases, of course, Luka's shooting so good, they're going to funnel the usage through him. I could see them keeping it close. If you make me lean, I like the Clippers. I definitely like the under, but all the values on that number's gone with everyone else betting it before we came on the air for this show. So I lean towards the Clippers and the under here, but I didn't make a bet on this game.
Yeah, I think it's probably the toughest of the 4 for sure because, look, I definitely lean Clippers. There's a lot of reasons to like them. I would have loved 4.5 here. If this 4.5, I'm playing it. But at 6, it kind of seems like a 116, 107 type of game, something like that. I don't think it'll be easy. I don't know if they'll be up 20 or anything here, but definitely lean on the Clippers. Probably won't end up being a play for me. Mavs just don't do a whole lot for me. They just don't. But I worry about playoff Paul George. I mean, Paul George has been a disaster in the playoffs. I mean, I remember last year, it was hard to watch, man, Paul George at times. He's just brutal. Kawhi's just kind of having a solid season. Hasn't been an electrifying MVP season for Kawhi, but solidly getting it done. I think Ibaka's an upgrade. Batum's an upgrade. I actually like Zubac. Zubac has been pretty strong for them.
Yeah.
That with that center there. So I'm going to lean on the Clips here. Next one. Boston and Brooklyn, the 2 Bs. Good old Eastern Conference matchup. Brooklyn laying 8 here at home, and Barclays total is 232. Let me ask you something, Spread. Just a yes or no answer, and then I'll get into my soliloquy here. Did 8 come across to you as a bit high? Yes or no?
Yes.
Agreed. Then I think when you look a little bit more into it, I've talked before, we've all talked before, Brooklyn is not strong defensively, but we've seen at times this year Kevin Durant really locked down on the opposing best player. He's had some stretches. I think it was the game possibly against Dallas late in the season. They ended up losing, but he was pretty solid in the fourth quarter. The one thing I do know, Brooklyn, I don't think is going to be stopped here by Boston. Look, yeah, Marcus Smart, but that's about it. I don't think defensively they're very good. At the rim, they're a complete mess. They just don't have much size. And one thing I know is Brooklyn's going to score 120-ish. That's what they do. They average 119. Again, they average 119. They're the most efficient team in the NBA. It's game 1. Again, there are more games to play. It's not a do-or-die type of situation. You want to come out and play well here. But one thing I know is Brooklyn will not be stopped in this game. I don't trust them defensively, though, especially laying 8 points. I'm going to look towards a team total over here, playing Brooklyn. Currently, it is, let me just double check here. I want to get the best possible line. It's currently 120.5, 102. It's high. But how many games have we seen Boston get in this year, Spread, that are it's like 126, 120? You're looking at 2 or 3 games this year against Boston. Brooklyn scored more than 120 points. I'm going to lean on that number here. And Boston is the worst three-point defense left in this field. That's a concern for a team that can really shoot. Joe Harris could have a big one here maybe. Joe Harris might be worth a look. Obviously, the big boys get all the love. Joe Harris at 11.5. I could see a 14, 16-point outcome from him today. Maybe a couple big threes. I like Boston to struggle here to get stops. I'm looking at Brooklyn's team total over 120.5.
Yeah, I can't argue with that. And we talk about this Boston team having problems at the rim. They do have some good news. It looks like Robert Williams, he's been upgraded to probable. If he's back in there, I never thought I would say this, but that helps that team a lot just because it alleviates some depth issues, right? He's athletic. He can at least challenge at the rim. But, yeah, you had a great point on the Brooklyn team total. We talked about Milwaukee need to get out in transition. Talk about get you a team that can do both, right? Brooklyn can do both. They're deadly in transition, but if you want to slow it down, probably the best half-court creators, in the game right now, especially when you accumulate them all. Marcus Smart can only check one of them. It's going to be really tough. That Kemba Walker assignment, I assume they're going to hide him on Joe Harris. They'll probably still lose that one as it goes. So you mentioned Kevin Durant's defense. I think that's the key here. If Brooklyn does cover, it's going to simply be because Durant smothers Tatum and doesn't allow him to get off. If Tatum doesn't get off, they're going to really have a lot of problems generating offensive output. I don't trust Fournier to carry the load. I don't trust Walker at this point, although I do think that we'll get a couple Charlotte games out of him this series. We won't get them all four, and we don't know when they will be. So that makes it tough to handicap. Lean towards Brooklyn here, but I think your team total might be a better idea.
Yeah, keep in mind in one of the games this year, basically I think the one we had just seen between Brooklyn and Boston. Keep in mind, I mean, it's rare where you're going to get all three playing this year.
Right.
Keep in mind, Brooklyn was able to put up 121. They won 121, 109. Kevin Durant didn't play. So, I mean, with this offense, I think we can all agree they're the best offense in the NBA with all three of these guys there. Throw in, kind of ancillary guys like Harris and others. This is a big-time offense, but I don't trust them on the defensive end. I just don't. And we've seen Tatum can go off for 50. But others are going to have to step up. I keep hearing more and more about Robert Williams. I forgot Robert Williams turned into,
He really is
Oscar
not that
Robertson.
good, but it's just they're so bad there, right? I mean, it's just it's so bad there.
I guess anybody will help, right?
You can't absorb Semi Ojeleye minutes or Grant Williams minutes. You just can't. You can't have them on the floor against a team like Brooklyn. So just the fact that you're keeping them off the floor is why Robert Williams is so important.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to go to Taco Fall in this game.
Yeah, that's for sure. Right.
I mean, when you look at Boston, could you make the case that, I mean, their bigs are horrific? I mean, they have nothing. Tristan Thompson, I mean, what is this? Tristan Thompson, give Rob Williams a little credit, but, I mean, Taco Fall, Robert Williams, Tristan Thompson, Luke Cornett. I mean, what is this?
I mean, don't you think this is a series where they're really going to miss Tice? That trade was the weirdest trade to me.
Yeah, it really so much is. I mean, not only that, but you didn't retain Cantor. I don't know why you didn't do that.
Good point.
It just, for whatever reason, Danny Ainge just doesn't like bigs. I guess he doesn't. Like, I'm not sure if he knows this. And look, we could argue Brooklyn doesn't really have a big either.
Uh-huh.
They're not going to really, but it's getting to the rim that's going to kill them. But you look at the rest of the East. Bam Adebayo, Joel Embiid, Giannis Antetokounmpo. You probably need bigs Boston to contend.
Yeah, I don't know what's more crazy, that Boston traded Tice or that Brooklyn allowed Jared Allen to leave in that deal. I don't understand how they didn't put their foot down. Houston was the one in trouble here, right? Houston was the one that had a guy basically torpedoing their franchise that they needed to get out the door right away. Brooklyn was holding the cards there, and the fact that they let Jared Allen, the one piece that they absolutely needed. I understand letting LeVert go, right? I mean, he's kind of redundant with the other three creators. I still can't believe it. I don't know which was the worst move. The fact that they got snookered into giving out Jared Allen, or the fact that Boston gave away Daniel Tice for what seemed to be like a salary cap move.
I mean, I will say this. Blake Griffin gives you a nice little bump, but Blake Griffin doesn't really do any big type of things. He doesn't rebound the ball, doesn't block shots. He might give you something at the rim occasionally, but he's not a back down kind of guy.
Right.
Perimeter, dunks occasionally, transition. You just don't really have that much. It's just that simple. You throw out, Claxton, DeAndre Jordan, but I mean DeAndre Jordan's, he's not any spring chicken. Let's put it that way.
Exactly.
But I'm going to lean on the team total over 120.5. I know Brooklyn's going to score. Boston doesn't have the ability to stop them. Couple of comments here. Mike Myers says Tristan Thompson's one of those dumb-looking players. Well, I'll say this. Off the court, Tristan Thompson's had very good success with women. I will say that. He is kind of a goof, though. You're right. Keeping Thompson and moving Tice was dumb, says Sean Harrison. Couldn't agree more. What else do we have here? For Boston, he'll have to be rating threes. Yeah, I mean, that's never a great tonic to win. I guess, listen, I definitely lean over here. I mean, this number's moved up, though, considerably. Kind of seems like one of those games where Brooklyn will push mid 120s, high 120s. Boston probably gets into the 110s. Probably enough to get this one over the total. Okay, next one. Final game here on the card. I'm perplexed at this game. Denver laying 1.5, total 226.5. And I'm more perplexed at the total. I guess people are just looking at the games they played this year and saying, well, they played a lot of close, low-scoring games this year. I can't bet the over. Here's what you have. You have two teams that are very efficient. Jokic is going to probably do whatever he wants. Porter's been very good. But does the guard play hamper Denver? You got to wonder. For Portland, they're going to score. It's one of the best offenses in the NBA. Can they get enough stops? I don't think so. I don't believe in this renaissance defensively recently for them. Both teams efficient, highly. I guess I'm just not really sure why I'm seeing this total go down. I like the over. I bet it early in the week, and I'm on it here. But when I look at the side, I've said it all week. I just think Portland's better overall. I definitely love Lillard and McCollum over anything. I mean, I'd be honest, I like them more than Murray if he were here. Murray would definitely help considerably, but Lillard and McCollum are terrific. I like Portland. I think they get the job done here in Game 1. I think they steal one in Denver. And I think ultimately they win this series. I lean on Portland here. The over is weird. I bet it on principle just because I definitely really liked it, but the going back and forth is weird. I don't know why it's going down. Am I missing something that both these teams just don't kind of have what they want offensively here?
As far as Portland and why the number's so low, I mean, Denver, they run a really low pace. Even though they're highly efficient, they are at bottom 10 in pace in the league. That would be and of course, the results earlier in the year. And maybe the idea that if it is a close game, which I do expect, that it will slow down in the last 5 to 6 minutes, with every possession on the line. Or if one team's up by 5, that team might be dribbling out the clock close to the end of the game. I think the total number is tough. I did not get involved myself personally, but I did jump opposite with you with Denver here. And although I would not be surprised if Portland wins this series, I do like Denver to get out to a nice start tonight. I love Jokic going against Nurkic. Now, this can be an issue, of course. One thing to watch is going to be foul trouble for both of these guys, right? Because I'm thinking if I'm both coaches, that's what I want to do. I want to get the IC guy out of the game, either Nurkic or Jokic, because that's going to completely hamper the other team. I love the size here of Denver, and I like the fact that Gordon is so versatile defensively. I think that I can switch him on the guards towards the end of the game. I think that he's that good defensively, and switch things up, give a little bit of length and switch the look up on Lillard or McCollum. The tough thing about making this pick and why I'm not hammering it like the other one, the closing 5 now for Portland has one of the highest net ratings in the league. They're plus 14 when they run CJ, Dame, Powell, Covington, and Nurkic. That lineup right there is fantastic. So it's going to be tough for Denver to overcome, especially when they're going to be closing with a backcourt of Campazzo and Rivers. But at the same time, I think MPJ and Jokic are ridiculously tough matchups. I would lean towards the over. Just see how are these teams going to stop each other? If this goes under, it'll be pace, not efficiency.
Yeah, the fish, and that's ultimately, like I've always said, pace is important, and it is. But if teams can just make shots, they make shots.
Yeah.
Just kind of remember both these teams last year. I think Denver, while okay defensively, they still don't really have great personnel. Will Barton's not playing. Gary Harris is gone. You don't have PJ Dozier. Porter Jr. is a bad defender. I don't love the guards that they run out there, and Jokic, we know he's going to score. I'm going to side on the over here. I think it gets there. Powell's a huge pickup. Sad to see him leave Toronto. Yeah, listen, he's very helpful in this team. He's going to throw out 15 a game. He's always going to give you something. I hear you on that for sure. I'm going to lean on Portland, though. I think they get the job done here and steal one in game one. Definitely lean over as well. Real quick, I do want to throw out just some thoughts. The prop market I didn't love. I'm just going to kind of let these games marinate for a game here. So, obviously, I think if you're looking towards points, I think you obviously lean towards Luka Doncic. He's going to have to put that team on his back for them to have any shot. I also mentioned, I think Joe Harris could be interesting today. He's going to have some open looks, I believe, and really, I think, maybe make the best of them. But I'm going to kind of let the prop market marinate. Definitely some sides that I'm liking here. Let's get to best bets here, and then we'll just chat about a story or two in the NBA. I'm going to go with Heat plus 5.5. I like the Nets team total over 120.5. Those are my two best bets. I'm going to go with those two. What do you like, Spread?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Nuggets -1. We just talked about it. I just like their size towards the end of the game, and I'll trust Jokic to get it done. I think the home court advantage will finally be back in effect tonight as Denver fills up their stadium with vaccinated citizens of Colorado. I think we see the return of home court, and I like Denver to get it done.
Good stuff. We're definitely on opposite sides there.
Yeah, it should be fun tomorrow, right?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so I want to talk again about one of the most hypocritical people in the history of this sport, LeBron James, who, I mean, look, this guy continues to really just annoy me. And again, I'm sure LeBron doesn't care, but LeBron is this guy that he's always throwing out how much he cares about everything. He wants to talk about stuff when it benefits him to talk about it. And we've talked about that. We don't talk politics, again, but as a American, I find it abhorrent that he doesn't bring up China ever. It doesn't benefit him, though, to do that, and he won't do it. Then I hear that this morning, LeBron James is violated protocol. I guess he had a event for a tequila company that he, I guess, is involved with. Drake was there, Michael B. Jordan, all these people. And that to get into the party spread, you had to prove you were vaccinated. However, LeBron doesn't want to make it known on whether he had the vaccine or not. What a goof. I mean, I don't know if LeBron's aware of this, but people listen to you, LeBron. Maybe you want to step up and tell us what you did here. You probably got vaccinated because you were at the party, but then again, maybe you weren't, because for you, you're probably one of these people that says, you all have to get vaccinated, but I'm not going to get vaccinated. Why doesn't LeBron step up here? Why doesn't he step up and stop acting like a baby for once and just admit, hey, yeah, I got vaccinated. You should go too. Because as we know, there are certain communities, particularly certain minority communities, certain white, a lot of communities, they have vaccine hesitancy. LeBron should be out there. It's about just say whether you got it or not, LeBron. It's always about LeBron.
Yeah, obviously it was one of those things, maybe a little disappointing, but not too surprising. I mean, for me, the LeBron fatigue is real. I mean, the idea that he was seeing through hoops before he was shooting the other day, and the plan was a terrible idea, and we can already admit he needs to take the L on that. I thought the plan was fantastic. This was a fun 4 nights of basketball, right? Started off a little slowly. Tuesday night wasn't the most exciting, right? Wednesday night was fantastic TV. I couldn't even start my prep for the next day because I was so amped up about the game for at least an hour afterwards. Last night was so much fun. How could you not like this play-in? He goes against that, and we've seen this before, right? I mean, we talk about the double standard with the foul calls. This is just taking that to the next level. James Harden did the same thing in December. Silver decided not to suspend him, right? But let De'Aaron Fox or Harrison Barnes do the same thing. They're out for 14 days, right? So nothing new from the NBA here. Obviously a little disappointing, and I agree with your sentiments about LeBron James and his pick and choose style activism, right?
I've never hated a player more off the court, but liked a player on the court. Like he's it's truly,
And the thing is, like, we should like him. Like, he's opening up schools, right? I mean, he's not running around cheating on his wife, right? He doesn't do drugs, right? I mean, like, we should like him. The fact that he's done this to make himself so unlikable really shows. I mean, and when you get that rich, like, what PR person's going to tell you? But really, he could have used a better PR manager over these last 5 or 10 years.
These comments are so pathetic. A reporter asked him if he had received the vaccine. He replied, "It's not a big deal," laughing after walking away. Like, yeah, dude, it is a big deal. LeBron, millions of people follow you, dude. I mean, it's really a shame, too, because this is the same guy that when he wants to push a message, everybody's got to get on board.
Right.
Shame on LeBron James. Seriously, shame on LeBron because, again, what you say people listen to, young people listen to, everybody listens to. It's really shameful. I mean, and again, people like Dennis Schroeder, who, again, was in protocols and put his team, by the way, because of his negligence, put him at risk. Dennis Schroeder was quoted as saying he's the only player that didn't get the vaccine outside of one other one. And you know who the other one is? LeBron. LeBron didn't get the vaccine. LeBron is some weird, he doesn't want to get it. It's between me and my family. Like, shut up, LeBron. I mean, just tell us if you got it so you can help other people. Because your huge following is helpful. You need that public, you need people that are popular in the public to come out and say it. You notice the president, he got it. Sean Hannity talks about the vaccine that he got it. If he can do it, everybody can do it. Sean Hannity hates the current administration. So if he can do it, you can do it, LeBron. It's not hating, John, or whatever your name is, Ian. It's not hating. We're trying to all get past this, and people like LeBron could really help. And being so coy and joking about it, it's lame. By the way, Spread, do you really think Adam Silver was going to do anything about LeBron attending an event that broke protocol? Give me a break. LeBron James could say, "I have coronavirus," and they'll let him play.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
I would say he could go to like the biggest rave with like 1,000 people and be jumping
and get
up and down.
coronavirus.
Yeah.
I have corona, and they'll still let him play. Give me a break. It's hilarious. LeBron. I'm not sure where this is a story because nothing really happened anyway. I will continue to say the NBA should mandate this so people all have to get it. It's going to be a real shame for any team that has a player test positive. It really is because.
Well, we already kind of saw it with the Chicago Bulls, right? They made that move, and then they lose Levine right after they get Vukovic. And that probably was the difference, I'd say, between them sneaking into the playoffs or not, right? Because I think they went like 3-7 while he was out or something terrible. We've already seen it this year, and I would not be surprised to see it happen again.
Yeah, it's going to be a shame. It really is. And we saw it with, certain teams. Injuries hurt, man.
Yeah.
Look at Indiana, having people out. Look at all those. Also, the NBA released a policy that coaches that are vaccinated do not have to wear masks. How about that? That should be
I like
normal.
that. I like that.
Good for the NBA. Not that it's surprising that anyone needs to tell us that. That's why we got the vaccine, I thought. Keep in mind, we'll start seeing fans as well, which is great. Mm-hmm. It seemed like it made a difference. I think you mentioned that the other night, Spread, with some of the games. So I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun.
All right, guys, that will be it for us. We will wrap this thing up. 4 games, picks for all of them. Some we liked, a couple others we loved. We'll be back tomorrow, 4 more games. Spread will join us again for those, including the first game out of the gate, my Philadelphia 76ers getting started. And I wanted to throw this out there. So last night I was out and I contacted a friend of mine, Spread, Roan. Works at Barstool. He's a great guy, someone that really has helped me a lot. And he's a Sixer fan. He's a Philly guy. I said to him, all right, so it's the eve of the Sixers getting started. What do you think? He said parade down Broad Street. People are excited in this town. I'm saying Clippers, Sixers. Sixers win. I'll ask you. Playoffs are about to get started. Give me your Eastern Conference, your Western Conference winners, and who wins it all.
Give me Clippers, Bucks, and I'm taking the Bucks to win the title. Giannis gets the monkey off his back this year.
Oh, no. You're not going with the Sixers?
It's tough, right? Because your path is 3 times easier, right? I mean, you get Washington in the first round, right? Essentially
Knicks
a bye.
or Hawks.
Yeah, and then you get the Knicks or the Hawks, right? And at the same time, the Bucks are going to have to play the Heat, who's their nemesis and specifically built to beat them, and then most likely take on the Nets, right? So it is a bold prediction, and if I went another way, I do like the Sixers. I think the winner might come out of the East this year. You know, hey, let's switch things up. It's going to be one of those big 3.
By the way, if the Sixers don't get to the Eastern Conference Finals, you're going to see a side to me that you don't want to see. Trust me. That better not happen.
All over again.
I swear to God, if they don't get to the Eastern Conference Finals at least, it's not going to be good.
Well, I think that's safe. Now, Eastern Conference Finals, I think that's where things get dicey because whoever comes out of it's going to be Brooklyn, Milwaukee, or Miami. That's going to be a tough series regardless. I think that you guys match up really well with Brooklyn. I think that you have the team to beat Brooklyn.
Agreed.
How are they going to stop Embiid? Embiid's going to go for 40 and 15 every night.
I know. I think Embiid, it's a shame he was out for a period of time because he would have been
MVP. Yeah, he would have.
Yeah, really terrific. Really great season for Joel. Before we go, if you like mob history, you like the mob, you like gangsters, you like gangster movies, you like crime, you like that kind of stuff, I have a podcast. Go check it out. It's called The Sit Down. You can find it on Google, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. We break down every week a gangster. We talk about all sorts of stories. We tell you stuff you don't know. We get a great show next week on a guy called Joe Massino. He's probably the last great gangster we've seen in this country. He had a wild end to his reign. Fought through power grabs, fought through the Donnie Brasco situation, which we do talk about in depth. That is a true story for anyone that doesn't know. That is a real person, Donnie Brasco, Joe Pistone. We talk about all that and more. Go check it out. It's called The Sit Down. We actually are hoping for a pretty big-time future with this show. We think it could be big. We think it could be awesome. We want to bring you big-time interviews. We want to bring you all sorts of cool stuff. So go check it out, The Sit Down. I know you're a big mob guy, Spread. You like
yeah, I enjoy it. I mean, it's been a great show so far, and I've read a lot of those same books that you do, but you guys are finding stuff that I've never read before. So fantastic work.
Yeah, we'd also like to do because there are guys that aren't as big, that are kind of lower level or just not as known. Want to do kind of a shorts kind of thing where I can just kind of throw stories out that I've heard and I've went across and stuff. So make sure you check that out. All right, we are out of here. We'll see you tomorrow. Same time, same place, 12 o'clock Eastern, here on PicksWise, presented by FanDuel. Breaking it all down. NBA playoffs get started today. Enjoy the games. Spread, thanks as always. We'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.